Here we go.
All right, step 4. Here's where it gets exciting. This is where we switch the customer to the right vehicle before we ever land the customer. That's in like car terms. That's some car language there, isn't it? We're going to switch them before we land them. So what does that mean? Well, earlier we said that what happens sometimes when we move too fast and we pick the wrong vehicle and we come back inside to work the deal, we realize we're on the wrong vehicle because maybe the lender won't give us the right terms for that vehicle. Maybe the customer don't budget as far as payment. Maybe it just doesn't work out to fit in the customer's budget. Maybe it's great for the bank. Maybe it's good for the dealership. But maybe it's not good for the customer's budget. So we decided that if we're on the wrong vehicle and we've already been spending an hour, hour and a half with the customer and we figure out we need to switch vehicles, it's too what? It's too late. Too late. They've already spent a lot of time there, and of course they always say, well, we don't have any more what? Time. We don't have any more time. Well, since they've been there for an hour and a half or an hour, that was plenty enough time. So our whole goal with the vehicle selection step is to switch the customer to the right vehicle before we land the customer. Does that make sense? All right, so how do we do that? Let's take a look at the page. At the top of page 77, switch them before you land them. The desk selects the vehicle, not the customer. Now remember, we talked about it earlier. We say that the desk selects the vehicle, not the customer. But ultimately, who's really picking the vehicle? The customer is. But we're going to help guide them in the right way to find the vehicle that's going to be right for them, for the right bank program, for the right situation, to help them improve their credit, also get them a vehicle, and find a vehicle that fits in their budget, right? So the customer is selecting the vehicle, but the manager knows what vehicles out there would work best based on the information that you've gathered. And that's where we're good listeners. That's where being a good listener comes into play. If we listen to the customer really well, we'll be able to help them find the right vehicle that's going to fit them and their family. Now, once we select the vehicle, what's the next step? Feature, advantage, benefit, presentation. Let's take a look at page 78 or 79. If you're doing a feature and advantage presentation without the B, your presentation is fading. We must have the benefit in there. What benefits the customer? So look at the top of page 79. Without the B, your presentation is fading. What is a feature? Well, a feature is what it is. Let's look at cruise control, for example. The feature is what it is. What is it? It's cruise control. The advantage is what it does. Well, what does cruise control do? It automatically regulates the speed of the vehicle. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Now, the benefit, why do they care? Why do they care that we have a device that regulates the speed of the vehicle? Because it makes long trips comfortable and it reduces the chance of getting a speeding ticket, right? So the feature is what it is, and you might want to write this. An advantage is what it does, and the benefit is why they care. The benefit is why they care. Now, we gave an example earlier. Remember the side door impact beam?
Yes.
All right, let's use that simple one again. This vehicle has side door impact beams. What that is a colonized steel beam that runs through the side of the vehicle. Now, if you're ever in a side impact collision, it's keeping the other vehicle from coming into the cabin. Of course, keeping the passengers inside the vehicle safe. And you did say that safety was important to you, didn't you? Yes. See, we gave the benefit. If we just do the feature and the advantage, we're making the vehicle expensive. If we give the benefit, there's really no price that you can put on the safety. Does that make sense? Yes. All right, after we do a 6-point walk around, feature, advantage, benefit presentation, we're going to end up with the customer on the passenger side of the vehicle, and the salesperson is going to get into the driver's side. The salesperson is going to go over a couple of the features, advantage, and benefits inside the cabin. Now, once we finish with covering those features inside the cabin, we're going to simply put our foot on the brake, and we're going to take the vehicle from park to drive and just say, buckle up. One or two things are going to happen. Either A, the customer is going to say, first of all, Hopefully we did a good job on a feature advantage benefit presentation and the customer's just licking the paint off the car. How's that sound? They love it. They can't wait to drive it. So when you take it from park to drive, there's only 2 objections that will come up. The first one is, we already said it, I don't have time. No problem. I don't have a whole lot of time myself because I do have some appointments coming in today. Did you want to take the long route or the short route? And they'll say short route. And then we just simply say buckle up. We take off on the demo. The other objection was, I already drove it at the other dealership. Well, that concerns me because these vehicles normally sell themselves. You know what? Let me show you some of the features the other salesperson may have missed. Buckle up. Put your foot on the brake, take it from park to drive. And now we're on the demo. So now we assume the demo. Is that right? Now what do we do while we're on the demo? Should we talk a lot or be quiet and let the customer feel the car? We should be quiet and let them feel the car. If there's any questions or concerns, we're in the vehicle, so we should be able to address them. Is that right? So does that mean that we just let the customer go by themselves all the time on the demo? Of course not. Unless it's like a truck or something, there's not enough seats, and you okay it with the manager, and you let things, you let everyone know that the customer's going to take the car out for a demo drive. But you want to be there for any questions and concerns. Now, after the demonstration drive, where do we walk them? Service. Through service. Let's take a look at the next step. Page 81. Demonstration. Build massive value in mental ownership. This is your first priority on the demonstration. Why? Because value confirmed is value paid for. Mental ownership must occur before physical ownership. 50 yeses now give you 50 closing tools later. Hello? No problem. Value confirmed is value paid for. Mental ownership must occur before physical ownership. 50 yeses give 50 closing tools later. Let's take a look at page 82. Know when to be quiet. What they don't say while you're talking aimlessly. Oh, I'm sorry, salesperson. What were you saying about your life? I didn't hear you because I was trying to envision myself owning the car. They really don't care about what we have to say on the demo. They want to feel the vehicle. They want to see if that's the vehicle for them. Does that make sense? So keep the radio off unless you're demonstrating that feature. Don't talk about you and gently insist that both drivers test drive the vehicle. You ever work in a deal with a customer and like the husband is ready to buy now. And the wife is like, well, let's just hold off. Are you sure, honey? Don't you want to think about it? You want to make sure this was the right decision? Or sometimes it's the other way. The wife wants the vehicle, and the husband's like, are you sure, honey? Are you sure about this? Well, let's just go one more place. You guys know what I'm talking about? Yes. Well, if you'll notice, usually the one that test drove is the one that wants it. And I want you to test this. I want you to test this in real life with your next customer. With your next customer. I want you to test it. Drive just one and see which one wants the car more. And the next time, drive both and see what happens. Because you'll find out if they drive the vehicle, they'll take mental what? They'll take mental ownership. And that way you can get them committed on the vehicle before you negotiate. Another reason why we don't know that both of them are in on the deal is because when we come back from the test drive, we just say, come on in, let's see if we can get worked out. Well, just come on in and let's see if we can get worked out is not getting the customer committed on the vehicle. If we say it sounds like we found the perfect vehicle, how do you want to register it, in one name or two? Well, we're going to put it just in one name. That's getting a commitment on the vehicle. But what are my payments going to be? Well, we'll get that part right now. Did you want something hot or cold to drink while we wrap this up? Cold. Now they're committed on the vehicle. Does that make sense? And then we can ask another question at that point after the test drive and after we walk them through service. The other question is, if we get the figures agreeable and get everything to fit into your budget, is there any other reason why you wouldn't want to take the vehicle home right when? Right now. Not today. Because if we say today, what do they always say? What time do you guys close? And we're thinking, oh boy, here we go. What time do we close? We have to get them committed on the vehicle now. When it's time to close, it's time to close. The presentation is over. The demonstration is over. We're going to walk them through service, build some massive value, and we're getting ready to get into some closing. Look at page 82. Start trial closing during the demonstration drive. Define trial closings. Tell when to stop and start closing. It's like taking your customer's temperature to see if they're ready to buy. One or two things are going to happen when you trial close. When you ask a closing question, they're either going to say, nope, not right now, we're not ready. Or they're going to say, well, I want to think about it. Or they might just say, well, I need to talk to my wife, or I need to talk to my husband, or there's one more place I want to stop, or this is the first place I looked and I'm definitely not going to buy it the first place I stopped. Isn't that kind of what we hear? Yes. That's why we trial close. We want to flush out the real objection. We want to flush it out. If you don't get a positive response and just get back to the job of adding more value, you know that we're not done yet. Remember, when a customer says no, N-O, a two-letter word, add the K and a W to it, and it just means no. I need to know more information. If you will tell me more information, I'll buy from you. That's why they say no. Just keep that in mind. So we got to build some more value if we don't get a positive response. Let's take a look at the next page. Page 83, Step 7, Service Drive Presentation. Build value in the service after the sale. When we walk them through service, before we go to write up our deal inside the showroom and reestablish salesperson-customer relationship, we want to build value in service after the sale. And here's why. Number one, we want to introduce our customer to our service manager and key team members, don't we? Number two, we want to create a wow experience. Number three, we don't take reflex objections seriously. When you make confident, assumptive statements, your customers may throw out a reflex objection to slow you down. These objections are just opportunities to wow them again. Like, I'm not ready to get it. I don't even know what the payments are. Well, don't worry about it. I wouldn't expect you to get it unless the payments worked. Does that make sense? Yes. You want to just get those concerns out of the way. All right, look at page 84. Now, since we walked them through service and we did a demo drive, let's cover a few things. We assumed the demo first, didn't we? And what was the objections? I don't have time, and I already drove it at the other dealership. Is that right? All right, well, there's the word tracks. Spelled it right out for you. On page 84, that's for you to practice, drill, and rehearse. On page 85, step 8, reestablish the customer-salesperson relationship. Your first priority, slow down to speed up. Slow down to speed up. If we don't slow down on this part, it's going to be a grind. Because fear is going to show up when they enter back in that showroom. Remember we talked about when someone's going to purchase something to make a large payment or a big down payment or spend money or write a check, whatever the case may be, fear shows up, right? So let's look at it. Your goal is to set the customer at ease. You want to talk about everything except the vehicle. Also, you want to take mental notes so you can make written notes later. You want to listen to the customer.